Thank you. So I'm here to speak about how students inform my understanding of community engagement. Part of my job at the Survival Center is actually coordinating over 110 volunteers every week, and about 35 of those volunteers are students from Amherst, from UMass, and also from Hampshire College. So I was a college student, as were many of you and some of you currently. And while I was in college, actually, it's really easy. I understand. It's easy to stay on campus. You know, you take your classes, you hang out with your friends in dorms and in student unions, you go outside to play Frisbee. That's sort of what everybody's idealized sort of college experience is, and there's nothing really wrong with that. I mean, I remember when I was in college, the great adventure was going off campus to see a movie or to a restaurant. It rarely involved actually going off campus and understanding how the town worked, at least not until probably my junior or senior year when I started doing more community engagement activities. But college is not only a place to be intellectually challenged, I also think college is a place to understand the world and one's place in it, and I think most of us in this room would agree. And that's where community engagement fits in. So community engagement gives students an opportunity to understand the region and the United States if they're not originally from the United States. It gives them a chance to experience the reality of life for so many other people, and also to understand, you know, they're taking classes in sociology or psychology or political theory, and to understand sort of how that plays out in the reality of the world, because sometimes in theory and in reality there's a little bit of a difference, and that's and the tension between those things are really important to sort of engage with and try to figure out. So community engagement gives people and students an opportunity to engage, to help organizations and individuals who are trying so hard to make a difference in this world. So while helping others is definitely important and it feels really good to help others, the interesting thing about the Amherst Survival Center is it's not really an us-them thing, where we are helping other people who need help. It's actually an invitation to be part of a community. And if by volunteering at the Amherst Survival Center, what I tell students is, welcome to the community. You are now on equal level with everybody else here. Because our volunteers, while maybe a third of them are students, a third of them are people who are part of that Amherst Survival Center community. In another environment, they would be the them that us would be helping. But at the Survival Center, the teams of people are comprised of students and retired folks for sure, but it also is comprised of folks that are homeless, people who are unemployed or underemployed, new immigrants, folks with disabilities, and by agreeing to be part of this team, you're saying, I'm going to learn from you, and I'm going to teach you, because as individuals and human beings, that's where the exchange happens. And so at the Survival Center, it's been an incredible opportunity to sort of see that exchange happen. Successful volunteers sort of get overwhelmed initially. It's kind of a culture shock when you walk in if you've never been there before. But they thrive in that diverse environment eventually. And so Joyce, who was one of our Amherst College students last summer, she was an intern, her family was coming up to visit around July 4th. And so she was going to go to UMass to see the fireworks. And one of the populations that the Amherst Survival Center attracts are people who are socially isolated. They don't really have friends. Maybe there's some kind of mental health issue or other kinds of disabilities, or maybe they're new to this country or new to the region. And she said, oh, I'm going to the fireworks. Why don't you join my family and I? And so she, was giving out her cell phone number so that everybody could find her and her family at the, and that, the next day when we got back together, all these folks were like, Joyce's parents are so great. And I was thinking to myself, if you had told me 2, 3, 4 years ago that I was going to be listening to this conversation, this homeless man, this guy that was doing community service for some crime he committed, all hanging out with a college student, her parents visiting from Florida, I would be saying, that's just a kind of weird thing. But that's what the Survival Center is. It's an opportunity for people to sort of build those bridges, to help each other, to learn from each other, because it's not an us-them in the world. Once you get out of college, it's an us. So it's also an opportunity for people who live in the region to talk to Amherst College students and tell Roman, hey, you want to go swimming this summer? Here's a great swimming hole. You don't have to go to Puffers. If you take that, if you ride your bike, you can go this way and that way and make a left and a right, go down that dirt road and next to that driveway, next to the blue house. And so Roman gets to see a part of Amherst that very few other people, certainly not Amherst college students, get to see, because he's learning from people who live in this community, who know the things off the beaten path. You've got Tawanda, who's from Zimbabwe, talking to folks from Moldova about their healthcare systems in their various countries and how that compares to Massachusetts healthcare reform. And so these conversations are happening, and in the meantime, what's happening? You've got everybody working together to make lunch for the 75 people who come for lunch, stocking shelves, organizing donations. All of that busyness is happening while these conversations are happening and these connections are happening too. And so student engagement, community engagement, that's what that means to me. So while Amherst is really a wonderful town with bookstores and cafes and restaurants, it really is incredible to me when I see an Amherst College student walking down the street looking and meeting a guy on the corner that most people wouldn't even see. He's clearly asking for money. He's homeless. You know, people might give him money or might close their eyes. But this is not somebody that this Amherst College student is ignoring or engaging or feeling any pity about. It's somebody that she knows. And so they end up talking just as human beings together, because that's what community engagement is. It's finding your role in the community to help it make it better. And sometimes that human connection, while working together to try to help on a macro level, is all mixed up in that. And so that's the importance of the student body and the help that we've gotten from the Amherst College students and students in general at the Amherst Survival Center. Thank you.